This week marks a sober milestone in America's longest war. It's now been 10 years since the start of the war in Afghanistan. After a decade of conflict, the cost in lives and dollars has been staggering. But is the United States any closer to victory? Martha Raddatz is in Afghanistan and she joins me now from Kabul. Martha, of course, the administration had a big victory this week, killing Anwar al-Awlaki by a drone. That was in Yemen. It's very different, though, in Afghanistan, right?
It's very different. The drone strike that killed al-Awlaki, they've been using a lot of those in Pakistan. But here in Afghanistan, it's a combination of counterterrorism and counterinsurgency. And counterinsurgency, securing the population, helping them out with jobs, takes a lot of troops, a lot of time, and we've already been here for a decade.
10 years of war, 10 years of watching, always brings you back to this troubled border.
You see border post 3, Pakistan's right down in the valley.
Brigadier General Gary Volesky is one of a long line of commanders who have tried to stop the flow of enemy fighters from Pakistan who managed to traverse this impossibly steep terrain every day.
There are a wide range of insurgents that are operating. You've got the Taliban, Afghanistan, you've got some LET elements.
Nearly a decade ago, I walked this same border.
The Pakistani border is just about 3 miles from here. The problems they've encountered is the Taliban will run across the border after hiding in Pakistan and then run back after attacking the Americans.
And asked the same questions about insurgents.
How serious a problem has it been?
They're getting better, which is why we need to be proactive. We can't just sit here.
Nor did they. The U.S. and its dwindling group of allies have been pounding this region for years, and yet they still keep on coming. In fact, over the last year, cross-border attacks have increased by 500%, from approximately 60 attacks last year to more than 300 this year, with the fighters now reaching Afghanistan's capital, Kabul. It wasn't supposed to be this way.
And now, the Taliban will pay a price.
The war began with precision airstrikes and only about 1,000 U.S. Special Forces on the ground. Within a matter of months, Afghans were back to work, back to school, and living in relative peace.
The Taliban regime is out of business permanently.
I've not seen any indication that the Taliban posed a military threat to Afghanistan.
Today, the Taliban has been deposed. Al-Qaeda is in hiding.
The priority, of course, became Iraq, which by comparison made Afghanistan look like the model of stability. But Lieutenant General Dan McNeil, a former commander who had only 8,500 troops in all of Afghanistan to keep the peace, lived the reality.
I think it's fair to say that the insurgents went to ground, some likely in the more remote areas of Afghanistan, but some across the borders. It was difficult to find them. With that small force, we did the best we could.
It would soon be clear that was not enough.
We very badly under-resourced Afghanistan for the better part of 4 or 5 years.
But by the end of last year, the numbers that had averaged 20,000 peaked at 100,000 with the additional surge forces. It was as if the U.S. had to begin all over again.
It is just now that we have finally gotten the inputs right in Afghanistan.
But the cost of this longest war has been numbing.
It's soldiers like Sergeant Hennigan, they keep us free.
In U.S. lives, 1,678 killed, more than 14,000 wounded, and at least 14,000 Afghans have also died. In dollars, approaching $400 billion. And now what? 96,000 troops remain in Afghanistan, but the withdrawal has now begun. By the end of next year, the 33,000 surge troops will be gone. By 2014, the rest of the force is scheduled to leave. It will then be up to the Afghans, training now for a force of more than 350,000, with a very long way to go. But U.S. commanders see hope in these challenges. Gary Volesky saw it through 3 tours in Iraq. He sees it here.
do you think we'll be successful here?
I know we'll be successful.
And define success to me.
That the Afghan security forces are able to deal with the issues that they encounter, that they can handle those issues and they take over security primacy.
Brigadier General Volesky is already telling his Afghan partners they better hurry up because the United States will be leaving, although, Christiane, I believe there will be forces that remain beyond 2014 to help with the training.